ahead of the health of New Zealanders.
I call Dr Paul Hutchison.
Mr Speaker, it is indeed a pleasure to speak on this Medicines Amendment Bill, and contrary to the former Speaker, this is yet another positive and continuing contribution by the national government towards improving health in New Zealand. And I must say that the health situation in New Zealand by objective measurements has only improved under the Minister of Health, the outstanding Minister of Health, Tony Ryle, compared to a very miserable performance in the 9 years before. But, Mr Speaker, I would like to acknowledge the work of the Health Select Committee on this important bill. We work as a very consensual committee, and it was very positive and an excellent result that has been formulated. Secondly, I want to thank the 43 submitters, of which, again, there were some very, very thoughtful submission. And, of course, the Ministry of Health staff who were extraordinarily helpful to us. Mr Speaker, this bill is reflective of the need to deliver high-quality, safe, modern public services within tight budgets. And I must remind the former Speaker that the facts are that since 1950, standard cost of living has gone up 152%, expenditure on health has gone up 452%. Now, that was totally forgotten by the previous Labor government, who increased expenditure on health from $6 billion to $12 billion over 9 years with no real increase in output. It was a failure. They totally failed to realise that it is important to expend every health dollar well, and that has been reversed under this national government. But, Mr Speaker, I do want to acknowledge Workforce New Zealand and others throughout our health system that are continuously looking for innovative new ways to work that will lead to better, sooner, more convenient health for all. No slogan at all. But, Mr Speaker, I do note that in the submissions, the New Zealand Medical Association were understandably somewhat more conservative than others in their submission. They did support delegated prescribing under the supervision of a registered medical practitioner, but noted the bill would enable any authorised prescriber, including nurse practitioners and optometrists, could also be responsible for delegated prescribing. And I think it is understandable that they have a conservative approach, because at the end of the day, the responsibilities of mishaps, and mishaps will always occur, and when it happens with prescribing, indeed they will always continue to occur, the responsibility does indeed fall at the end of the day on the medical profession. But on the other hand, the submissions from the nurses, the pharmacists and the optometrists were far more activist in wanting to extend their prescribing rights. I have no doubt that at the end of the day, the bottom line is that of patient safety. And again, I welcome the initiative of this government of forming the Health Quality and Safety Commission, led by the very able Professor Alan Mary, in ensuring that safety is absolutely at the bottom line of any legislation that may go to new and innovative measures. As was pointed out, this legislation is an interim measure intended to address some problematical provisions of the Medicines Act in advance of a comprehensive overhaul. That overhaul is likely to happen by mid-2016, when a single regulatory regime will occur across both countries, Australia and New Zealand, and that, of course, will be an extremely satisfactory advance. And, Mr. Speaker, I do note that the nomenclature around this bill is somewhat mind-boggling. It does require Gilbert and Sullivan alliterative command, as was so ably demonstrated by Maurice Williamson in his initial speech, when it comes to these new definitions of authorised, designated and delegated prescribers. But he read it so well. He read it so well. So, Mr. Speaker, I won't go into further detail now, other than to say that this is yet another step in the innovative, continued work of the national government in ensuring that New Zealanders are delivered better, sooner and more convenient health.
The Honourable Mary Ann Street.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise to speak on the Medicines Amendment Bill and take some pleasure in doing so, but I would have